Welcome, friends, to another action-packed episode of Making a Crapsterpiece. I am Chris Seaver. I am the writer and director of Low Budget Pictures, Warlock Home Video, all the good stuff, all the Crapsterpieces you have seen. And with me once again is actress extraordinaire and very, very, very good friend, Meredith Host.
Hello.
And she is back. She picked another film that she quite enjoyed making, and we are going to talk about the making of that film right now. What is the film this time, Meredith?
It would be 1986 classic Death-O-Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah. 1986.
Fanfare.
Holy,
Yeah.
1986. That's 35 years ago, Meredith.
Well, I thought about the anniversary, so perfect timing.
My goodness. Wow.
Is that really the math?
No, it's 35. Yeah, 86 is 35 years ago.
Okay.
Insane. Anyway. So yeah, Death-O-Lantern is the 2011 film.
10-year anniversary.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? 10 years.
Holy crap.
Seriously, isn't that crazy?
That bunch of movies just seems so recent.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Although when I was thinking back, I'm like, no, that was a while ago.
Yeah. 10 years.
Like when I was trying to conjure up the memories.
Holy crap. So, wow. So Warlock is 10 years old.
Yeah.
Warlock Home Video.
It was the second Warlock movie ever after Dibbq. And it was the first Warlock I was ever involved with because I wasn't in or dealt with Dibbq at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And dare I say, one of the more successful Warlocks.
Probably oh yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to, if we didn't like it, we wouldn't have made a part 2 or a remake.
The remake was a mistake. I don't know why we did the remake.
Because we liked the original so much. However, you wanted it to have a new look, and then filming that didn't go as whatever. It was different. It should have
stayed as is, and there will be a Death-O-Lantern 3 shot on VHS at some point.
Bring it back to the old school roots.
Oh, it's going to, because the plan was always with the Death-O-Lanterns, we would go to like 10. That was going to be like our...
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. It was always going to be like the Friday the 13th of Warlock,
Perfect.
So if people, let me try to do this real fast. I know that's tough with me, but the origins of Warlock Home Video were sprung from me wanting to end Low Budget Pictures because I was getting burnt out. We were doing so many movies a year, and it was getting to where it wasn't fun anymore to make what we were making in the way we were making them, fast, furious, no money. It just was like a never-ending cycle of torment and pain.
To put it that way, yeah.
So I wanted to stop that and just go back to something fun. Didn't matter to when I was making the shot on video stuff in the late 80s and early 90s, and the stuff that I was emulating from the 80s, the shot on video stuff. And I thought that would be a lot of fun to just pick up a video camera like the old days and go and make these, cheesy, good, quote unquote, good intentioned films that were inherently terrible. Like the direct to VHS stuff that I was renting back in the day and that you could rent back in the day, the horror shot on video stuff.
Yeah, the stuff that had like amazing covers and then was total turd.
Yes. The covers drew you into the film and then you rented the film and it was garbage. But the people who were making those films had good intentions. They just were terrible. And that's what Warlock Home Video was going to be. It was a, hey, this company was buried sometime in the 90s, but they were big in the, mid 80s to early 90s. And all these people, they had, Warlock Home Video had a huge fan base, and and
and
then,
like lots of lost titles like Deathgate 88.
oh
and
yes,
Blood from a Minotaur's Skull.
Stop or My Mom's a Mummy,
Radikill.
which tanked Warlock Home Video.
Really brought him down.
So I created this this real thing, but it was supposed to be somebody had found all this stuff in a warehouse, all these movies from this Warlock Home Video, and decided to re-release them on special edition DVD and VHS. In all actuality, it was the LBP crew just making these movies fresh at the time, 2011, and we were presenting them as old shot on video horror with wonderful, wonderful art by Jeffrey Sisson. And he really captured everything that we were going for and made the art kick-ass and looking like it was painted and gruesome and horrible, and it was awesome. And for a while, it worked. People actually believed that these were movies that were made back then. And
I've been waiting for Deathgate 88 to come out.
To the point where they were straight up saying that they had seen these movies and that they remembered seeing these movies, which was hilarious. I would get messages like that, or we'd read them on the forums or the pages that were out at the time. And then if we would, the first time we started selling them at conventions, people were like, yeah, barbecue, I remember this movie. Oh yeah, me and my brother used to love this movie. All these people who just thought that these were real movies. But it worked for a while, and then it became very clear that certainly if you were an LBP fan, oh, this is just Chris Seaver and all those guys and the teenage people.
Good old crew. Yeah.
But that didn't stop us. It was still fun, and people, ended up understanding what we were doing and really enjoyed it. And yes, so the first movie we shot for Warlock was Diebecue, and then in that same just a couple months later, Death o' Lantern. And I'm sure we will be talking about Death o' Lantern again on this show, because there's several more people, including myself, who cite this film as a real treat,
well, I hope you'll talk about that right now too.
A hell of a good
just
time.
Be me.
And yes, it was a very popular title for us. And probably other than Sex Squatch, probably the biggest seller,
Really? I didn't know that.
For sure.
So that's why we did the remake.
No, I must have thought that, man, we can do this again. This was special, and we can make it look,
amazing.
I guess the original conceit was, hey, what if the makers of the original Death o' Lantern went back and remade Death o' Lantern with today's technology? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because we did shoot like VHS, like giant thing on your shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone knew that. It's
which
like
is how I was shooting.
Right.
When I first started making movies.
Yeah. Did you get that camera from like a thrift store or something? How did
I can't remember. I can't remember what we did. I do remember that
it was like giant, like, brick.
Yeah, but that's what I had. That's what most of the people who were making those movies back then, that's what they were shooting on, or SVHSs, which were a little more quality-wise, were a little step up from normal VHS, but it was still VHS. So I believe we shot Death o' Lantern with the over-the-shoulder VHS camera and a VHS-C. which was the smaller camera with the smaller
That was
tapes.
the behind the scenes stuff was on
Well,
that.
but some of the actual movie was on that too.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
But because like it was the same quality.
Same shit.
Yeah, it just looked, and that was probably because we had with the smaller one, miraculously enough, the smaller one had battery life.
Yes, I remember that we had to have the other thing like plugged in, so you could only go so far.
Yeah.
I forgot about that too. So there was some issues with taking it too far away from a power source.
So going into Death of Lantern, I had learned a little bit from shooting Diabecue. The whole thing with Diabecue was it doesn't work as well as the rest, everything coming after, and that's because we're trying too hard to be bad. And that's not what we needed to do. And once we saw what was not working with Diabecue, I was able to write a script that was, essentially a straight horror film, a straight cheesy horror film that really doesn't have any sort of feeling of a Chris Seaver movie. You know what I mean? Of a normal Chris LBP movie. So the way was to play it straight. Like these actors got together to make this horror movie, but it just happened to be terrible and fall apart and, bad editing, bad special effects, but which were awesome.
Yeah.
Bad lighting, the camera was bad, all that stuff. All the stuff to add to the charm of it. And then that was it. It worked. This was the formula that we should have done in the first place, and I felt upset that we didn't do that with Diabecue, which was the whole conceit of Warlock Home Video in general.
At least we figured it out quickly.
Yeah.
Diabecue. Like, we got to rethink of how it's going to actually work.
So we shot Death of Lantern in October of 2011. Now, do you remember the beginnings of that? Do you remember? Because essentially it was very quick, but
yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
You tell me, and then I'll tell you.
I'm trying to remember how the morsels of putting it together and writing it and getting it out to you guys.
I don't know how you. It
must have been so fast.
It was fast, but we did get it in advance because I read it, and I know I'm not the only one that made this mistake, but there's more than just myself thought the Stingy Jack was Stingy Jack when we read it. We're like, Stingy Jack, that's an interesting name. And then I remember, I think I called you before we shot it, because I usually do, and be like, okay, what about this and this, whatever. And I was like, yeah, Stingy Jack, or you said Stingy, and I was like, wait, what? I've been reading it as Stingy this entire time, and I found out I wasn't the only one, so I didn't feel like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
And I remember Casey being like, yeah, of course it's Stingy. Like, what else would it be?
Well, I guess if you knew the lore of Stingy Jack.
Was there really a lore?
Yeah, that's real. Something? That's real.
No!
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I honestly did not. I thought you made that shit up, dude.
Oh. What? Look up the legend of Stingy Jack.
I just assumed it would be something that you wrote that's on the internet.
No.
What?
I just took the pumpkin legend, and
my mind is blown right now. Are you? I legit had no clue.
Okay.
But, Chris Seaver's done it again with his weirdo legend of Stingy Jack.
I certainly added to it.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
Yes.
no, that's you know, that's a thing.
Well, there's a tidbit I didn't know about. That's for sure. Is it like a New York thing?
Um,
Or
I'm
like the
not
East Coast or something?
I'm not sure. It might
Eh.
be. It might be.
Hmm.
Oh wait, I don't know. I think
We
it's
didn't
like
get the legend of
I
Stingy
think it,
Jack
I
in
think it goes
Michigan.
back. You know, it's I don't think it's a New York.
Or like a East Coast type of thing. I don't know. I feel like there's, lots of ghost stories in the um, East Coast type of geography.
It's a wait, hold on.
We'll have to edit this out.
It looks like it's an Irish legend.
Hmm,
Yeah,
you don't say.
of the jack-o'-lanterns and
All
stingy.
of that was like. Okay, well, I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
So cool. Hey, I can't believe no one's capitalized on Stingy Jack before. Or they just renamed him.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
obviously.
It's
Plenty of
funny
pumpkin
after we
headed
did Death o'
killers.
Lantern. After we did Death o' Lantern, then there was like all these like low budget, stingy Jack movies. Yeah.
No!
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they were nothing
What the
like ours, but it was like.
oh my. That's funny. Okay, well, I'm a little bit shocked right now. let me refocus. Where were we?
The beginnings, the
I
kernel.
thought it was Stingy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember reading it and like calling you up or something before, because that's what we usually do. Have some sort of like, how are we doing this? What do we need? Blah blah blah. And the only other thing I really remember about the script was, of course, I'm like paying attention to the lines that I know I have, and there's about a page, like an entire page, that's my line, and I was like, I'm really not sure how this is gonna happen. You go, oh, you're just gonna read it. I was like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So I knew from the beginning that I was gonna have to just read that, thankfully, because I started to think, I don't know how I'm like, maybe it'll just have to be the gist of this whole legend, because this is a ridiculous amount of words. And you're like, oh no, you're just gonna read it, no big deal. I was like, okay. And you're like, and that kind of began the attitude of like, it's Warlock, who cares?
Yep.
Who cares? It's Warlock.
Yeah, and I know like that bothered you initially.
Right? A little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Because I think we were so hardwired to do it a certain way, and then this was like, yeah, but I fucked up. Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'll tell you something
That's
that
all
I
you're
have
gonna get.
Of course, I have notes about like, things I remember because I'm organized like that. But something I did make a note of was the who cares, it's Warlock. But also I learned very quickly that if I effed up a line and I didn't like it, I would just stop talking versus fighting my way through it. And then, because I saw it happen to other people where they're like, and then they like finish it, and you're like, great. And they're like, no, I want to do that again. And you're like, nah, keep moving. And I was like, oh no. So if I messed up at all, I just stopped where I was so that I would have to redo it. Not saying I did a great job, but I wanted, I mean, there's certain
okay
still
though. You know what I mean?
No, it performance wise was crappy enough anyway. It didn't matter. I didn't need to also flub the line completely. That's what I'm saying, So anyway, I learned that lesson very quickly. And it's hilarious when you watch it.
There's still a couple things where I
Oh
get
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, stuff where I was like, I really want to do that again. You're like, nope. I'll go. It's Warlock. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's
there's
like,
there's
okay.
actually there's one edit in there where if I just left it like a second later, you would see you laughing.
Oh.
I
Well, I'm
I
actually
cut,
glad you didn't
yeah,
because
I cut it right as you're about to laugh.
there was a lot of laughing. And that's one of the reasons why it was a lot of fun too, and why I chose it as one of the fun times. For me, okay, when did you guys shoot Karaoke Kid?
That was 2006. That was
Okay,
January of 2006.
so I had 5 years of everyone telling me how amazing Karaoke Kid was. It was so much fun. It was the most fun we've ever had. And Meredith, you're a curse. And I also said I was, I guess, like, because I wasn't there. So it was amazingly fun. And you guys had such like, we got to roller skate and do all this fun stuff. And it was not stressful, or maybe it was, but at least the fun overshadowed all of it. And that anything I've ever been involved with has been like, like not fun. So I obviously was the problem. So yeah, so I guess for 5 years, I was like, when's my turn to have fun? And I feel like Death a Lantern was that time. Haha. I finally got a taste of the fun
So this is
everyone
19
speaks of.
this year is 19 years that you've been with us and you've been my pal.
That's
And
weird. 19?
you've had one fun time.
No, I'm saying no, listen.
I know.
No,
I'm
you guys over the
I'm being
top were
stupid.
like, it was so much fun and you weren't there. Haha.
I know.
So I'm sure Karaoke Kid for everyone else still goes down as the most fun.
Listen, Karaoke Kid was fun, but it wasn't as fun as everyone makes it out to be. That was just
It's all a ruse.
no, it was fun, but I mean, come on, it wasn't that fun. You know?
Well, if you heard you talking about it, I mean,
Well, we played it up for you. We played it up as that joke, you know? Because I've had
keep
good
the curse
times,
going.
man. I've had good
I know,
times.
me too.
And
I laugh a lot.
Death a Lantern is one of them. Death a Lantern was a really fun, good time.
Agreed.
We shot in Wellsville. We shot in Wellsville, New York, where I grew up. And I've said this before, but we have always had very good luck shooting in Wellsville because everybody knows who I am, and it's sort of a carte blanche situation where we can just go and we can shoot, and it's not going to be an issue. And the town itself hasn't changed much since the 70s and 80s,
Well, and there's a lot of ambiance.
Yes, it lends itself. The atmosphere is perfect for a lot of what we like to do. And certainly with this,
And the timing was really, I mean, the fact that it was October already was good because people had all their decorations out.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, we had to fake one house.
Yeah.
There were multiple, like, looking good Halloween decorations.
And we, our base of operation was Jamie's house.
Yes. And I think that's the first time, at least I ever met Jamie.
Oh, that wasn't the first time I met Jamie.
Oh,
but it was the first Jamie.
The first Jamie.
Yeah, the first time Jamie did anything with us.
In bringing her into the fold.
Yes, I had met her earlier in the summer to sort of like get her into it, But yeah, Jamie Osborne, that was the first, her first movie with us. It was Clint's first movie with us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember that it was Jamie's first, but not Clint.
Yeah, Clint. I had met at the previous year at a horror find convention, up in Maryland.
The Baltimore. I bet.
Yeah. So
This is where he has lived at that
yes, where he
time.
lived at the time.
Yes.
And we just kind of hit it off talking about the same stuff, and I had mentioned to him about Warlock Home Video and what I was going to do with it, and he knew, before a lot of people, what the whole thing was going to be. And in a lot of ways, it was very similar to some of the ways people joined the group. It was a phone call like a few weeks before we were shooting, and hey, do you want to come do this? And he drove down the night before. Do you remember this?
No.
The
I was
night
gonna say he drove up, probably.
Well, okay, whatever.
I just kidding.
He drove from Maryland to Rochester,
Like
and
the night before?
the night before, but at like fucking 1:00 in the morning. He showed up at like 1:00 in the morning because he was leaving from his work. And that apartment we had at the time, it wasn't the best and it wasn't the biggest. So everyone was sort of scattered everywhere. And I was out in the kitchen on a blow-up bed because all you other guys had the rest of the living room, the other rooms and everything. And Clint comes walking in at 1 a.m., not knowing anybody, barely knowing me. And I'm like, you can sleep next to me, bro, because we got to get up real early because we're driving down to Wellsville, And he did, and he fucking just slept next to me. And the next morning we leave for Wellsville and start this adventure,
Yes, adventure indeed. I don't recall that part. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's what I was gonna say also about, Jamie coming into the group. Like, she brought it as far as like helping us.
Oh yeah.
Props. And we had the sweet ass like old cop car that added
that was
the production value.
That was Heather. Heather's buddy got that.
Oh, I thought Jamie, maybe because she knew them too. Why did I think
Probably
that? Oops, sorry, I credited the wrong person.
But no, Jamie.
Heather, great job.
Jamie was huge. I mean, she did so much for everything going forward after that. You know what I mean? And again, she opened up her home for all of us.
Yeah, we all stayed there. Yep.
She had a pretty nice pad, man. I liked that place.
It was like the upper floor of like a Victorian sort of house.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I liked it. We got to shoot Happy Holidays.
We shot part of Death of Lantern there too, like in the living room, and then also I think in the attic.
Yes.
When I'm going through old papers.
Yeah. Yeah. So everything that we could use, we used. The bowling alley, movie theater, pizza shop,
Pizza King.
Everything, anything that we could get our hands on.
Well, in the theater also, like, we had the marquees changed.
Oh yeah, they changed all that. Again, that was Jamie and Heather, who knew the dude
Darren,
who still owns the theater down there.
Oh wow.
And he let us, from then on, he let us shoot a lot of stuff there. Phoebe. But
Phoebe, I have to wear that dress I made you. So, I actually wondered, was that the legit line in the script?
I guess so. I don't know.
I hope you wear that dress I made you.
I don't know. It was supposed to be creepy. It was supposed to be like,
oh, it was real weird.
This guy was about you, and you didn't give a shit about him. But that helped authenticate for sure. Him letting us put my old posters in the marquee and changing the letters and everything.
It was Night of the Creeps, right? And Never Too Young to Die.
Never Too Young to Die, Night of the Creeps. But in the coming soon, I think it was like Big Trouble in Little China and something else.
Well, wouldn't have Big Trouble in Little China come out because my Halloween costume was based on it?
Yeah, I don't know. It
versus
doesn't. It doesn't matter. It was
lots of
86.
references to 86.
Yeah.
Lots of 86. Yeah.
Um.
But yeah, I mean, Wellsville has that look to it.
Yeah, and it was, like I said, it was crisp. You know, it had that October air. There were already leaves falling, and it was perfect. It really was perfect.
Yeah, and it's like pretty much all of our like favorite time of the year. So it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, just I really like the movies or the that we've done that have like friend group dynamics where a group of kids going on an adventure or whatever, which is kind of a theme throughout. And my character Phoebe, I assume the name's based on Monster Squad Phoebe, but
yeah.
I remember, I mean, kind of a description of her would just be like fun loving adventure seeker. I kind of, and dressed like Punky Brewster, you said,
Yeah.
or kind of had that vibe. And then I remember being like, so basically Jill in the 80s.
Yes.
So Jill was a character from BoJack Heights or House on BoJack Hill or whatever else she was in.
Yeah.
Multiple flicks.
BoJack High. Yeah.
Also, Filthy 4.
Yeah.
So anyway, but her group of friends, it was like a trio. And then, anyway, so I always just thought of like, it's kind of like just Jill in a different time period.
Yeah.
Which really sounds like you're corroborating. So
yeah,
I was like, I got this.
I can. Yeah, I mean the script was surprisingly was very easy to write. Surprisingly because there really was no typical Seaver stuff in it. Certainly wasn't scary, but I mean it was a slasher Halloween horror movie. Mm-hmm. and the comedy would come out of how the acting was, how bad the editing was, the fuck ups and all that stuff. Because the comedy wasn't in the movie. Like the comedy in the movie is like straight up shitty, bad 80s comedy. It's not my type of comedy. Right. Other than a couple parts, but it's typical from what you would see in those types of movies back then.
Yeah. Damn, man, my friends just got killed.
Well, his delivery, I mean.
I can't remember. The thing that's kind of a bummer is that I wasn't able to watch it before we were talking about it. My copy is packed away in the basement somewhere. And I did look online to see if there was any option, but there wasn't. Anyway, something I wrote down is like, that was, the who cares, it's Warlock. So there was this type of, it's fine, let's just keep moving. We don't need to get hung up on anything. But then we also had, someone who was just there for the effects so that we didn't have to actually focus on it ourselves, which was huge. And it made things go so much smoother than normal.
For sure. Definitely for me. I didn't.
The stress was off.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it honest to goodness felt like the early days of making movies. Like to me, it was just it was still the same like shooting pattern that we did for LBP, which was 2 to 3 days and that's it. But because of the type of thing we were going for, the stress was lifted, whereas on LBP that stuff would be stressful. But because we could just throw caution to the wind and make it a part of what the movie is, it lent itself to a much more fun shoot, an easier shoot. I mean, I don't remember anything terrible other than
I mean, I think we had maybe a late night in the theater because we had to wait till like the last showing was done, and then we went in for our final scene.
Yeah, but I mean,
it wasn't that bad because we had a freaking nap time that day. Like that never happens. And so some people chose to take a nap, and other people chose to go to the roller rink.
Yeah, and I wish I had gone to the roller rink. I wish I went skating.
I think it was only me, Shawnee, and Heather that decided to go skating.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like,
yeah. I felt like me being the guy who wrote and directed it, I should probably sleep a little,
Yeah, no, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but the idea of it was, I'd like to go, but
I think I was just like, yes, roller skating so that we can be like Karaoke Kid. Plus, I'm not going to turn down roller skating ever. But yeah, so I mean, the amount of stress level was way different because who cares? It's Warlock. And yeah, like I said, we had an afternoon off. What? That never happens. I think we just kind of planned things out pretty well. And because we weren't hung up on anything, it just was like, well, that was done.
Yeah.
Moving on.
That was also the weekend of GERF.
The beginning of GERF. More licks. Yeah, GERF. There were so many posters all around Wellsville for GERF.
Yeah, GERF Morlix was coming to Wellsville, man, and you better make damn sure they were going to let you know.
GERF. So yeah, GERF became like our expletive. Like
yeah, we were coming out of Texas Hot, and we saw these posters for GERF Morlix, and we just laughed. It was just like, who the fuck is this? GERF Morlix. And so it became a running gag, and it became a gag to this day. I mean, the GERF is a thing, GERF.
It's such a weird name, GERF Morlix.
Yeah.
Whew, good times.
So that kind of became like a, LBP had Liked It, I Loved It, and the Stamos, and one of the things Warlock had was GERF,
Where did the so she said, where are you going? I said, I don't know.
Oh, that was Warlock as well. That's Warlock as well.
Right. That was the Liked It, I Loved It version.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how it went, but
yeah, it's some variation of that.
Where are you going? I said, I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
Also, when you mentioned Texas Hot, all of a sudden I remembered that was the second time in my life I've ever had heartburn, and it was really fucking bad.
Oh, the fries?
I was like, this must be it. This is what heartburn is. I need medicine.
Heartburn sucks. Indigestion, all that shit. Oh.
Whew.
You're damn right. If you're not.
Only the second time in my life.
If you're not familiar with the wonders of Texas Hot.
And I probably only had the French fries.
Oh yeah, that's all you had. But those French fries are some greasy ass French fries.
And I still had a great time. Gross. Yeah. GERF. Good old GERF. Man, I'm looking at my notes to see. Oh, this was also the first time, like, well, I know Diebecue also did this, but using like our fake names.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the
choose on our own, part of the Warlock thing.
Yeah.
And everyone had the names beforehand because they're part of the behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, was it you who picked Candace Patterson?
I picked it because it was a name that I named one of my taxidermy shoulder mounts, Candy Patterson. And I thought, ooh, we could go a little more formal and say Candace Patterson, but then she goes by Candy.
Yeah.
And, I like Candy, so it worked. Because, yeah, you said you got to make up a name.
Well, but I remember I made up a lot of the names.
Well, okay, I made up my own.
Yeah,
but
and
I'm
so
sure
did
like
so did Sean. Sean,
Chip Rockcastle.
well, Chip Rockcastle and Clark Westfield.
Oh, okay.
So he uses two.
Who's this guy? And then wasn't there one like Areola?
There's Areola Fangoria,
That's right.
which
And
became Francine Mitchell.
right. And then was it
There's
Anne Marie something?
Anne Marie Nouveau.
Nouveau.
There's Savannah Ramon.
Savannah Ramon. Right.
Dutch Hogan.
Dutch Hogan might be my favorite. And Rudy Belafonte.
Oh yes, the famed director Rudy Belafonte.
You know, in my head, and I don't know why I think this, but for some reason I always thought Rudy Belafonte was like Josh.
No, Josh.
Was it because there was like a writing credit or something?
No, Josh is Toby Larone.
Right.
Toblerone.
Toblerone. But why did I think in my head, I always was like thinking of Josh for some reason. Are you Rudy Belafonte?
I'm essentially Rudy Belafonte. You know.
You're E.W. Swackhammer.
Yeah.
Or whatever his name was.
That was E.W. Swackhammer, which was a real name.
Oh, whoa. You went real style?
Yeah, that was like a real producer at one point. E.W. Swack. I'm sure that guy probably used a fake name.
Swackhammer. Right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, but that was good. I mean, that's, and again,
threw people off the scent for a second.
For a little while.
A little bit.
But now it just, that's just what it is. And it always depended. Like if we were doing a better, the larger production in the Warlock, then we would, if it happened to turn out good, we were going to use the real names. If not, we would use the fake names.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, the behind the scenes thing I thought was kind of interesting too, and that it was just shot like randomly when we were waiting for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
And so you would do your, I don't know, E.W. Swackhammer voice, or like just the camera guy voice, like, tell us about the.
Yeah, we're here on the set of Death Ladder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And that was always going to be a thing. That started with Diebecue.
Right.
And it was just part of it was because back in those days, in a lot of those shot on video movies, there was always like at the end of the feature, there's a, stay tuned for a little behind the scenes look at the film that you just watched or something like that. And certainly with Full Moon, they always did it with their Video Zone thing. They showed a behind the scenes making. And, with the Warlock introducing it, it just seemed like a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think it further lent to the quote unquote realism of what we were doing and how it was shot back then, And after a while, of course, we just were. It became a dumb thing, and we were, making fun of it, and we knew it was the present time, like that.
Right.
Because people would say, yes, we're here in 2012 or 2013, and then go, you mean 1987?
Right. Oh, right, how can I forget?
Yeah.
I remember that, so like none of that had any, obviously there was no script. It was just like whatever, but a very weird dynamic happened, which like I don't know if people decided that my backstory is that I'm fucking the director or something, and I'm going to play it up that I'm like this. You don't remember any of this? And then it was like a weird attitude toward my character, like you're just jealous because.
No, I thought that one of the other people, the reason she was on the movie was because she was fucking Rudy Belafonte, and all of you guys thought she was awful.
Oh, and well,
And so
I don't know how it started, but it was this weird, like all of a sudden it played into this bizarro dynamic that we're not. I was like, where is this going? Like, okay, I guess, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. And
I don't know. It was weird.
quite honestly, I think it was from that person. I think
No,
it's
that's what I'm
just
saying. I think like there was like, I've decided there's this backstory that not everyone knows about,
yeah.
but I'm gonna play it up. And it was like, it was kind of interesting and very just bizarre at the time because nothing was scripted, obviously.
Yeah, it
so
was
just
weird.
kind of
It
playing
was
off of
like,
it.
where's this going?
And then there was the whole joke of like, have you seen Rudy? No, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
like never seen him. Oh, what else? What else? So Stingy Jack has an amazingly annoying voice. He's got the classic one-liners.
Yeah.
I remember that, you know, it's just your basic pumpkin mask, but we stitched like real twine or whatever in the mouth
Yeah,
and then
and
put like
didn't you make
pumpkin guts.
who made the
Oh,
burlap
like a
hood?
burlap sack hood.
Yeah, one
I
of
don't
you
know.
guys made it.
I don't know if I did. I don't think I did.
I didn't make it. It was one of you guys. It was maybe you or Jamie or did
I
that.
remember like
put
putting the stitches in so that we could put pumpkin guts.
yeah.
Like
And
hanging out.
it was never going to be a like a prosthetic or anything like that.
It was always a just plain old Halloween mask.
Yeah.
But as far as masks go, it was a higher quality than we normally would have.
It was fine. It was fine. I got it again because we were gonna do Death of Lantern 3, which, you know, we still will at some point because it's a fun story, but we just couldn't at the time. But I have the mask back. The original, I mean, the original is
Jack
a
is
fan has it.
back.
Yes, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you sold it off.
That mask.
Someone has it.
Yeah.
Cool. Because there was a different one, wasn't there,
for the remake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another note I had was that, so of course I'm a sucker for anything Halloween, but I really liked that the kids made like their own costumes and they're kind of shitty because they're like homemade. And when you told me that you wanted, I feel like it gave me a choice. Like, do you want to be Jack Burton or something else? And I was like, I can pull off Jack Burton.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna make the exact tank top, you know, like whatever. And then I quickly was like, that's gonna be too much work. And not that much, but like just do your normal iron-on letters, Pork Chop Express, call it good, because that seems like something easier someone would make anyway. And of course you had the lovely mullet wig for me.
Yeah. And you put on
used in many. So, yeah, so that was something else that I was annoyed because in the scene where we're supposedly ready for Halloween, I do not have a beards. And then when we show up at the theater, I've got my stubble. And same with Patrick, Shawnee's character. He does not have the shitty zombie makeup that I put on him until just the final part. I was like, why didn't we just put that on then? Whatever. It's Warlock, who cares?
Yeah.
But I did enjoy being Jack Burton for a second. It's so stupid. It's hilarious. I thought it was a nice choice for a Halloween outfit.
Certainly back then, you know, Michael
For
Jackson, Clint's
Freddy. Super shit Freddy. Right. But you know, they're like teenagers. Like, of course they're gonna have like crap costumes.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about like one of the effects that I think is really well, I know probably the candle at the beginning is probably everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
However, I think that the Adrian and her throat getting slit is kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, through the whole thing, there's some good stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
I like that we made her the bait. so ridiculous. And then we got our friend killed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
And
know.
honestly, that was in because I felt like I didn't know how the performance was going to be from that particular person. So in my head, in the script, killing the person who's just jumping on board to a project like that, and
but the character comes back, so isn't as like a zombie.
yeah, well, the zombie part wasn't going to be.
You're like, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, certainly once it was happening, that was a different thing. But whatever, it lent itself to the shittiness of what it was.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, everyone did a great job and really played it for what this was. I think overall the movie it is the most I think it's the most authentic of the Warlock films of what we were going for. I think the closest thing, honestly, you know what? I take that back because I think that, but I'll say this, it's the best out of these three. And I think Death O'Lantern, Happy Holidays, and Dingleberries are like the trilogy of like the best, what the conceit was, and could have been a movie that you picked up from back in the day and like, oh my God, who made this? You know what I mean? They really worked well. But because of the subject matter and because of, I think, just the general atmosphere of what the movie was, Death O'Lantern always comes out on top,
Yeah, I mean, the Halloween thing, you can't go wrong, really. Yeah. Pumpkinhead Killer, I'm in. Sold. It's very classic.
And it was the fastest turnaround.
Was it?
Yeah, because
of ever?
We shot it. I edited it right after we were done shooting. And then that weekend, which was the weekend after we shot, we were at Cinema Wasteland with,
of course,
VHS and DVDs
copies
of Diabecue and Death O'Lantern. Limited quantities, of course, but they were gone. They were gone.
Yeah.
Like,
So basically like 5-day turnaround.
I would say about a week turner,
Well, I don't, from the beginning of shooting, yes, to the end, a week. 1 week.
Yeah, it was insane.
Wow.
It was insane.
I mean, it is not long. So
no, it's not.
That.
No, it's not.
So, and I think that actually is very helpful for it too, in that it's not like some things you watch and you're like, oh my God.
You know what though? But it's one that I think could benefit from it being a little longer because it was so good. It was so fun and so exactly what we were going for, But I think that's a strength for us in particular, with LBP and certainly my writing, because we're able to fit so much in so little time. You don't want to linger because it can get kind of
be like,
it's real drag, and there's no reason for it, If you can nip it in the bud and tell your story in the time frame that, like, you've done your job and don't overstay your welcome when it comes to LBP or Warlock. I think we still have never made a movie longer than Deathbone. And Deathbone lags, man. There's some lagging parts in Deathbone,
Was the Weirdsies close to the length of Deathbone? No.
No, the second closest is Bonejack High.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Also haven't seen that in who knows. But anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but these like
yeah.
shot on VHS Warlocks were really only like 40 minutes, you know.
Mhm.
And then we did the behind the scenes, which kicked it up a little more or whatever. But
Right. Give them a little something extra at the end.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think I have said everything on my list so far, my notes. So,
Well, why don't we quickly talk about Death of Lantern 2? Because nobody's going to pick Death
oh,
of Lantern 2. And it's not like it was a bad experience,
I
but
didn't think about it. But yeah, it's like takes place what, 25 years later?
it's supposed to be a long time.
Okay.
And in reality, it's 2 years later, you know.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But Phoebe's all grown up and has her like home for people who've been like Halloween traumatized or something.
Traumatized by
Remember.
the story of Stingy Jack, traumatized by
Oh, it's all just Stingy Jack?
nightmares of the terrible things that happen around Sleepy Hollow Heights, and things like that. With Death of Lantern 2, it was clear from the get-go I was going to make it goofy. Like there was no, all right, this is another serious one. No, I was just writing complete fun. Like bonkers, ridiculous shit, you know.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I don't remember a whole lot other than it was in your new house at the time,
Yeah.
right?
It was
And
honestly, it was 2 years later. It was
okay.
October of 2013.
Weird.
Yeah.
Time. So I remember traipsing around in the woods behind your house for like the opening shot. And then the main death that I remember that was funny was one of Katie's friends who's the jogger.
Yeah.
And I remember shooting that was funny. Like honestly, I do not remember much about that one.
I remember it a lot because we were laughing so much.
And that's a given. Yeah.
But I mean, we were, if you watch the making of the movie on the disc.
Oh my God, was that with when Clint like had the one line that in your kitchen that was like pussy.
Yeah, elegantly Chauvin, your back door. Yeah. That whole thing.
Like,
which I would not let go. I wanted him to say the line because it was funny, and I wasn't going to let him go.
Right. And so Lucas, who died in Death of Lantern, comes back. I forgot.
Playing a completely different type of Lucas,
Mm-hmm. Is Lance in that one?
No. Lance isn't.
Is Patrick in it?
No, remember we talk about Patrick.
Okay.
And Death of Lantern 3 was going to reunite Alec.
Like a Lance, Lucas, and Patrick.
Patrick was going to come back, yeah. And Lucas was going to come back. He was going to get resuscitated, put his heart back in, and all that stuff. But
right.
So it was. I just remember it being extremely funny, very funny. And then when you watch the extras, I mean, almost every scene there's laugh out loud stuff in it.
Is that one with Griselda?
No, it's Jamie as like
right. Okay.
Valma Morlix.
Good old Garth Morlix's mom, the witch.
Yeah, it was a witch who wanted all the kids to die in Sleepy Hollow Heights, so I'm
obviously like morphing it with the remake in my head.
Yeah. Griselda's the remake.
Yes.
It's got the beep beep. When I
what?
Remember what? Because we needed a car horn, and I kept going like beep 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 beep.
Yeah. I forgot.
Got
Oh.
Johnny Douchebag, which we kept doing several times because it was making everybody laugh.
Oh. It
Um,
wasn't the
it's got Henry
Jacques
Lee Summer.
DeQueef? Because Jacques DeQueef is the one that makes me like
No, it was Johnny
Jacques
D.
DeQueef.
Remember Johnny D was like
Oh.
the groundskeeper, and he
I thought
loved your he loved Katie's character. He always wanted to go out on a date with her, and then she finally says yes.
Oh, you would write that in. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
then
cute.
Johnny D gets killed with the weed whacker.
Yes. Okay.
And my teeth
How
go
could I
flying
forget?
out because I'm like screaming, and they.
Was the Henry Lee Summer the end
Yeah.
that I forced you to do?
Yes.
You were like, I do not want to shoot that, and I said,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. We all want to do it.
Yeah, and it's in the script, and I was like, I'm done. I remember we had like a fight about it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We all were like, let's do it, and you're like, nah. But then once we got that music going,
Yeah,
you were into it. It was fun. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well,
It was
now
like
it's
a-
like, everybody
You just
talks
have to
about
hear the yeah.
everybody talks
then-
about that scene.
Oh well,
'Cause
I'm glad
it's hilarious.
we insisted.
And Lauren was very funny in it.
Yes.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was goofy, man. I mean, that's what I remember. Oh, I also remember we had like we were able to watch like a bunch of like Halloween themed horror movies. We had like food and snacks and drinks, and we just got to chill out like at night because we would stop shooting at a certain point. So those few days at night, we would just sit and like watch movies, and I have pictures of it.
Death o' Lanterns always so chill?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's kind of like Stoinky Beach. We did Stoinky Beach during the first Gash Bash, and we just shot it periodically while we were having fun for Gash Bash.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay, let's shoot a couple scenes here for Stoinky Beach, and I'll go back to having fun. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. The second Death o' Lantern, I mean, now that you're talking about it, things are coming back, but I don't think I've only seen it maybe like the once.
Oh man, you should watch it. It's very funny.
It's in a box, packed up, unfortunately. And Death o' Lantern, the original, is the one that I guess if I had to pick,
oh, it's better.
I would watch.
Yeah, it's the better film.
But
I watch Death o' Lantern every Halloween.
Yeah, part of the ritual now.
It is. It is. And then I'll always get like a message from either Clint or Josh saying, I'm doing my yearly watch of Death o' Lantern.
Uh-huh.
And Josh wasn't even in Death o' Lantern, but he just likes the movie so much,
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of honestly much about two, but
that's all
what
right.
you said, beep, 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 I'm all that. Like, I remember now. Like, I mean, just goofy times, man.
Yeah, it was
Goofy
a good
times.
time. Other than you and I butting heads about the music video.
Henry Lee Summer.
That was it.
Yeah. I do remember just like saying, we really want to do it.
I know. I just was like,
Why?
I was like,
You're just like, why? Why does it matter? It's
yeah.
stupid.
I was like, it doesn't matter that I wrote it in. Who cares? I think because you love dance sequences. Like you love like when we do things like that. So it's like,
I know, it's exciting to me. I mean, I'm not saying like it looks amazing or anything. It's just a funny thing to do.
Well, I'm glad I ultimately caved
to
your will.
Well, it wasn't just me. Like, I think I was the one fighting for it, but everyone else was into it other than you.
Yeah, I guess. Because I think
You
it,
were.
because again, I think I was just like, all right, I'm done. You know, we shot it. We got the movie.
Yeah.
But it does add to it, and people do talk about it. And, once I was.
Wasn't River in it?
No,
I thought he was in the music video part.
he's not.
Oh, okay. Why
That
did
was
I think he
something
was?
else. That was when we did Death o' Lantern, the remake.
See, it's
And
all like
and
smashed together.
there was the kid video.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Man,
Which
that's a good
clearly is
good
not in Death o' Lantern, the remake. And I mean,
It's like it didn't make it.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh well. You can't win them all. Or any.
So.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Death o'
Anything
Lantern.
else about number 2? Because I am like,
No, it was mostly, we
I
talked.
got
It
nothing.
was good. We got the Death o' Lantern, and we don't have to
Cool.
even talk about the remake. But, yeah, Death o' Lantern, guys. It's a classic.
Watch it any time of the year, but especially in October.
The way you can get Death o' Lantern is two ways. You can get the DVD of Death o' Lantern through sovhorror.com, which has some brand new extras on it.
Like what?
I just went because I did a licensing thing with sovhorror.com. And so for a certain point of time, they get to put out just the DVDs of a handful of the Warlock stuff.
I was just meaning, what's the extra?
So I shot new like little me talking about the films of each film that they threw on there. And he also got, Clint to talk about certain, stuff like that. So those are little extras there on the discs. Maybe even some commentaries. I don't know. But the Blu-rays you can get from me. They don't sell the Blu-rays. I have the Blu-rays, and you can get Death o' Lantern 1 and 2 in a double feature Blu-ray, and then Death o' Lantern the remake in its own Blu-ray with extras and all that stuff. So that's, folks,
Fancy.
How you can get the Death o' Lantern movies. And at one point, I'm sure we'll do a bigger box set where you can get so many of the Death o' Lantern films after we've shot them.
3 through 12.
3 is
coming.
3
soon.
is going to happen. 3 is going to happen. Shot on video. Clint and I have a really fun idea for it. So, and it was close. It was very close. And I remember, and I was glad that it fell apart because I remembered I was upset that you were not going to be able to be in it.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
Because you're part of the lore of the Death o' Lantern films. You've been in
old Phoebe.
The 3 of them. So it wouldn't be right without. Yeah, I remember it was gonna focus more on Patrick in this one because Patrick came back from California and tried to like put his life back together after all of it. And it just didn't feel right without the dynamic of everybody. So I'm glad there might be a chance to get Phoebe and the gang together again.
Back together.
And do a real part 3, So.
How many times are they going to fight this guy?
How many times are they fighting Jason? You know what I mean? We got to keep going. Got to keep going.
Keep that pumpkinhead killer going. All right. Well.
All right. Well, this was fun.
This was fun.
Down memory lane.
Be like, who cares? It's Warlock. That's I feel like the theme.
That's right. Death o' Lantern is a great addition to our collection of films. I can't believe it's 10 years since we shot it already, and 10 years since starting Warlock. 10 years of friendship with Clint and Jamie. Time, man.
It's wild.
Insane. And, you know, going to be the 19th year of our beautiful, wonderful friendship, Meredith host. And thank you. Thank you again for being on Crapsterpiece. I'm sure we'll get you on again talking about another one of your films that you did enjoy shooting. I don't know. Maybe.
There's good things about them all.
But awesome. So, folks, if you enjoyed it, if you like Death of Lantern, if you've seen it, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think.
Not this, but this. Just kidding.
And you know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell if you so choose. There's plenty of stuff on this channel for you to enjoy. 80s, 90s, toys, horror, comics, Star Wars, filmmaking. It's all here on A Crep from the 80s. And we'll be back. The next episode of Making a Crapsterpiece is with Jason McCall. It's already been shot. It's already edited. And that will be the next one going up before you, Meredith. Before
so you're
you.
telling them all this that they're not going to see at the end of this one?
Yeah, you're right. Jason McCall was the last one you saw.
He's already the one you've seen before?
You've seen that one. This is the next one.
What movie was it?
Actually, you are not. You're two more after. I forgot. I have some episodes backlogged.
There's so many backlogged.
I've already got Andrew with his first, and I've got Jason, which you've seen. You've seen them both.
You all have seen them already.
Yeah, but here's another Meredith, and there's more to come. Hey. So thank you guys, and we'll see you for more crap on Making a Crapsterpiece. Goodbye.
Bye.